Welcome Rockridge students and parents to our junior presentation. In this presentation, you will find our counseling staff. Our counselors work with all grade levels and are divided by last name. More information can be found on the Rockridge Counseling website. My name is Heather Hong and I work with students with the last name GE through KG. Also, we will have presenting Ms. Ashley Hastings working with students POW to SOK, and Mr. Jarrell Taylor working with students ME through POV. We will begin with covering what steps should students be taking during their junior year to prepare for the college admissions process. The first half of their junior year should be spent exploring careers and colleges that are of interest to them. When making a list of potential colleges, they should take into account the financial cost of the college and whether they offer programs that they are interested in. Colleges and universities from all over the country are visiting the Career Center almost daily. Students are able to view the schedule of when college representatives are visiting Rockridge and should be able to set an appointment to meet these representatives through their Naviance account. Students should be building a list of colleges they plan on applying to while taking into account the various college deadlines and methods of applying. During this half of their junior year, students should be reviewing the results from their PSATs and preparing to take the SAT or ACT in the spring. There are a few SAT and ACT test dates available for students in the spring and summer, so make sure your student is registered and prepared to take one or both of these tests when the time comes. Your student should also be verifying that they are on track for graduation with their desired diploma. This will play into the courses that your student will register to take during their senior year at Rockridge. When your student is building their college list, they should be taking all of these factors into consideration. All the colleges and universities your student plans to apply to should be schools they can actually see themselves attending. Your student should be looking for colleges that are going to provide them with a rich academic program, an environment in which they feel safe and accepted, and campus and community activities that appeal to their individual interests. Your student is going to be spending 4 years on their college campus, so it is important that they choose a school that appeals to them and their interests.
There are 3,752 colleges and universities in the country. We recommend students and families research schools outside of the large Virginia state schools. There are thousands of options and opportunities available to your student, and it is important to thoroughly explore them. These are two examples of schools outside of Virginia that may provide a unique learning and college experience to your student. One perk of applying to the University of Louisville is that students living in the DMV area may receive a reduced tuition rate. Colleges all across the country use one of or a combination of these three application methods. Colleges and universities will list on their admissions website what their application method is. Some colleges may take applications through several methods, which leaves the decision of how to apply up to the individual student. If the majority of the schools your student is applying to use one application method or provide students with the option between the majority application method or applying directly to the institution, it may be easier on the student to complete their application through one platform. This is why it is very important for students to verify the options they have for applying. We want to make sure this application process is as simple and painless as possible. As we mentioned earlier, your student should be planning to take the SAT or ACT during the spring of their junior year. Prior to registering for an SAT, your student should be verifying if any schools they plan to apply to require any SAT subject test. Information on subject tests and available dates are listed on College Board's website. Ideally, your student will be done taking their SAT or ACT exams by the start of their senior year. Colleges and universities have a wide range of deadlines students can apply for. It is important that your student chooses deadlines that work best for their own process. The admissions deadlines that are available to students are early decision, which is a binding application deadline. This means that if your student applies early decision and is accepted, they are required to attend that university and withdraw all of their applications to other schools. Your student can only apply early decision to one school, so make sure your student is 100% committed to the school before deciding to apply early decision. Early action is usually an earlier application deadline but does not have a binding component. Students who apply early decision usually receive an admission decision well in advance of those who apply regular decision. Regular decision is usually a later application deadline, and students will receive their admission decision in the spring of their senior year. Students can also choose to apply to rolling admission deadlines, which means they are able to submit their application at any time prior to the deadline and will receive an admission decision at any point during the admission cycle. There is usually not a set date of when students will receive an admission decision from their college. Some schools may have scholarship opportunities tied to earlier deadlines, so carefully review the admissions website for information on the deadlines that are available to students.
As your student enters the second half of their junior year, they should be starting to schedule college tours. Spring break is an excellent time to schedule tours because college students are still in session, which allows your student to get a feel for the campus, environment, and culture. During these tours, your students should be asking questions about the college and taking notes on what resources and extracurriculars are available to them. Your students should also be attending college and career fairs to explore all of their options and talk with college representatives from schools that are out of state and not as easy to visit in person. Your students should be continuing to prepare for the SAT or ACT exams and verifying their graduation status as we approach course registration for their senior year. Your students should also be working on creating a professional resume that includes all of their relevant activities and work experience. This is information that your student can provide to their teachers and counselor when it is time for them to write recommendation letters. Speaking of recommendation letters, your students should start thinking about what teachers or supervisors would be able and willing to write a recommendation letter for them. It would be beneficial for your student to talk with their teachers prior to the end of their junior year about recommendation letters, as our teachers receive a lot of requests for letters at the start of the school year. For students that are involved in athletics and wish to continue to play in college, make sure you have registered with the NCAA Clearinghouse before the end of your junior year. Any students that are interested in pursuing fine arts in college should be looking into audition schedules or portfolio requirements. Both the athletics and fine arts processes tend to start earlier than normal application processes, so pay attention to deadlines. Your students should also consider signing up for the College Application Jumpstart Workshop at Rockridge. More information on this workshop will be available later in the school year. These are a few college and career fairs that are available for our students to attend. We highly recommend attending these fairs because they are excellent sources of information for junior students, regardless of their path after high school. The Northern Virginia Regional College Fair is a massive event, so make sure that your student has reviewed information about the fair and pre-registered for the event if they plan to attend. Sources of Strength is a school-wide student-led initiative that works to teach students about resiliency and mental wellness. There will be a Loudoun County Mental Health and Wellness Conference January 11th at Independence High School. More information will be provided. Your student's senior year is going to be jam-packed for the first few months with college applications, so it is very important that your student take that into account when they are choosing their classes for next year. Your students need to be mindful about not overloading their schedules with difficult courses and not making large jumps in difficult levels. Your students should be able to enjoy their senior year without feeling constantly stressed. Thank you for tuning into our junior presentation. We look forward to working with your students and the class of 2021. There will be a link below this video for any questions you may have.